It's Worth It: How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, and Other Books, written by Beto O'Rourke. Welcome to Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto Willis, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas. Good morning to the entire United States. And good morning to the world receiving our signals via the magic of El Internet, formerly known as the ARPANET, created by we, the people, now controlled by the billionaires, something that we have to take care of. Folks, we have to take our country back. If you remember in the old days, the Tea Party used to say that don't tread on us. We're taking our country back. Of course, it was all projection, but now we are going to take our country back. But without further ado, let's get to the studio with El Senor Howard Reynolds, Jack Van Bibba, and Mayena. How are you guys doing this morning?
We're doing good this morning. We're doing very well.
Good
That
morning.
is great. Good morning. How you doing, my brother?
Good. I'm good. Howard's secluded in his lair.
Oh man, Howard been staying deep inside that cocoon kind of often. I guess he doesn't have any rants.
We got Mayana to replace him.
Yeah, Mayana. I know Mayana has something, but let's get started with your wisdom.
All right. Trump persuades Governor Abbott to include redistricting in Texas special sessions. Citizens, this is how autocracy enslaves the people. Beto O'Rourke on CNN discusses various aggressive methods that Texas must use to stop this redistricting. That's one headline. Okay, Texas Senate committee doubles down on THC ban. Texas Senate Bill 5 will ban products with any detectable amounts of any cannabinoid. Texas, you're going backwards. This will bring back a near total prohibition for marijuana and the arrest and the needless incarceration of the pot smoker, destroying families and people's lives. This is a policy where the punishment is worse than the perceived crime, which should not be a crime. Politicians make too much effort at demonizing a plant that has thousands of uses, including paper, fabric, and plastic, not to mention the medical marijuana uses. Who pays and suffers? You do, when they fill the for-profit prisons with pot smokers.
Yeah, take away the happiness, man. Take away the happiness. That
Yeah,
is,
we were getting there.
yeah. Whatever happened to keeping the welfare of the people, keeping the people happy?
I kind of figured, I kind of figured there was going to be pushback with this administration, and I look for them to try to roll back the legal marijuana in other states.
Well, you know what? I think if they know what's good for them, Gen Z and the younger Gen Ys are coming up and they're going to be voting. And as long as the vote isn't stealing, something that Mayana was talking about earlier. Mayana, I think you were listening to El Senor. Roland Martin is from Houston, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I
he's
know.
yeah, he's from Houston, and I heard that you saw a little piece that he did yesterday that kind of make you believe that the numbers are saying that that there's some hanky fanky in the election of 2024.
Yeah. I mean, I've been hearing that for a while, but it's just I'm seeing a little bit more news on it coming up. So I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't think
Well,
they were gonna go there.
yeah, it's interesting because they actually came out with the math now. Greg Fallis did a lot of work on trying to find out exactly where the numbers went, and he found just that. So I don't know. Do you remember that name? If that is one of the people that Roland had on, Greg Fallis. It's a guy who
I
always has
don't.
a hat on.
Oh, maybe. I think that might have been the first person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
Greg always looks like you remember those old Dick Tracy days. I don't,
Mm,
maybe that's before your time. I don't know. Uh,
Not Dick Tracy.
Okay, okay, okay. Just checking, just checking, you know. Don't want to age myself and I don't want to age you. But anyhow. Anyway, let's get started. I mean, Jack started with the redistricting, but what I want to get started with is, and let me bring up our peeps on Substack. For some reason, I don't have them up, but I have them up now. I can't leave my Substack folks. Remember, guys, I don't have the first few dozen of you, but I do have the chat going right now as well. Okay, look, um, let's talk a little bit about the THC because uh, what I just simply can't accept is how the party that always talks about keeping the government out of your lives. I want you to listen to this well, folks. The party that says they want smaller government and they want government to stop controlling your lives. They don't want regulations. They don't want any of that. I think when you look at laws like the laws they want to pass for THC, when you look at laws that they want to pass, laws against a woman's body, in other words, taking control of a woman's body. I mean, Tellerico, Representative State Rep Tellerico said it best. He brought up a part of the Bible in Luke where you know under the Christianity, people who believe in Christianity, Jesus was immaculately conceived, and what, of course, before God asked Mary, we're just for those who want to be biblical, you know, I'm a humanist, but I follow the rules. All right, for those who want to be biblical, in Luke, God asked Mary for permission to use her body to have Jesus Christ. I didn't know that. I read the entire New Testament and somehow that went past me. You know, me reading the whole New Testament is another story. But I tell you, so Tellerico, Representative Tellerico says that's why he told a state rep who really wanted to have control of women's bodies that what they were doing was actually unchristian. Now we have with THC the government wanting to control what substances are okay to put in your body. Now, I don't know if you ever been on pot or seen somebody on pot. You know, the happiest people in the world, right? They don't want to harm, they don't want to kill, they don't want to maim, they just want to mellow out, and then they get hungry, right? But that's what they want to ban. They want to ban the ability to use brownies, gummy bears, all that good stuff that has THC in it. They want to be on top of you to ban that because it's going to cause you so much harm, so much harm. But the thing that causes a lot more harm than marijuana, ganja, you know what we call it in the Caribbean, Panama, ganja. You know they think that causes a lot of harm, but alcohol, regular beer, wine, spirits, gin, causes more accidents, causes more damage to one's body, destroying livers, destroying families, having wrecks, leaving people maimed, etc. And do you see any bills in Congress wanting to take that thing away, alcohol away, on grounds that it harms people? I don't see that. The hypocrisy is astounding. This is just about controlling of your lives, controlling a woman's body, controlling the kind of sex you can have, controlling all of it. And all of it coming from the party that tells you we want you to have more control. We want government with less control. The hypocrisy of that is astounding, and I think it is incumbent on people to call it out. Let me see. Ernie Vauxhall. Welcome aboard, Ernie Vauxhall, Matthew Ward, MXXS, Paula, Catherine Rasco, Ernie Cowboy Hats. I don't know. There's something about cowboy hats. I like that name. Jen LaFleur and Uju. How you doing, Uju? I don't think I saw you on yesterday. Welcome aboard. And of course, we also have Harry Denson, call says, "Good morning, Jack and Mayana, and host of Politics Done Right. Look forward to another edifying show this morning." And Lisa Blair from Atlanta says, "Good morning." Now, Vauxhall says, "No, we don't want any more Democrats. We don't want people who allowed themselves to be pissed on for 10 years by Jake Tapper to have any say in our lives." I don't know if I understand that. But you do want the people who are going to take your health insurance away. You want to hear from them. You do want the people who are going to throw your kid, because a lot of these kids are on marijuana. You remember that song? Marijuana, give me the banana. Anyway, Lynn Smile Nesbitt, welcome. Nancy Douglas, welcome. So, folks, those of you who are living in Texas, remember, you may want to, if you don't want that, if you want your freedom, remember to call your congressman. I got interviewed by a radio station, syndicated radio station on, I think they played it on Sunday. And one of the things the guy asked me was, what are the topics that I think are most important, or the policies that are most important for us right now? And I said, first, healthcare, then freedom, then a complete revamp of the economic system. And he says, "Why do you do it in that order?" I said, "Because you can't fight for freedom unless you're healthy, and you cannot revamp the economic system unless you're free." So healthcare, freedom, economic system. That is our path. That is our path to, how I start the program every day, taking back the country. That is how you take back the country. And you may ask, how do you get healthcare before freedom? Well, healthcare is something that is affecting all of us. So we are going to find that commonality in healthcare, because the favor that Donald Trump has given us is that this big, beautiful bill, aka this big, bad bill, I want all of you to see the hope, not the hope, the calculated hope that we have here. You can kind of get too cute, and I'm going to show that we redistricted in a little bit. But the calculated hope is the following. Guess what's going to happen in the next few months, the next few years? Those who follow Donald Trump, those who are Donald Trump's sycophants, those who refuse to accept that the evil that Donald Trump and his cabal represent, the one thing that they will be able to see is when they start to see their families die and their daughters die because of the results of the different policies within the big bad bill. And it's going to happen. And the thing about it is, it affects, and we've been warning this to MAGA for a long time, it affects more Republicans than Democrats. It affects more red states than blue states. It affects more Republican people than Democratic people. And why? Because Republicans in the aggregate are poorer, depend on more government services than anyone else. The red states are bigger states. They take much more from government than they receive. Texas gets quite a bit more from our government than it puts in. New York, California, Connecticut, Rhode Island, all these blue states donate a lot more money than they get back from the federal government. In other words, they are subsidizing blue states. Red states like to talk about we have low taxes, low this, low that. They do all of that on the backs of blue states. Remember, red states are welfare states. They depend on the government. So as they promote individualism, as they promote small government and all these other issues, they are more dependent on government. They are less educated. They are they are sicker, meaning they have many more health problems. And not only are they sicker, they are poorer. Everybody that's listening to this right now, please don't just take my word for it. Please simply go and look up the numbers. You can use any of your search tools and come out with documents corroborating factual documents that would point out that most of our red states are bigger states. All right, let's go to redistricting here in Texas. Guess what? Our governor didn't want redistricting. And why didn't he want redistricting? Because they redistricted already and they squeezed just about all they could by creating the maps. Let me tell you how it works. You don't have to have a majority of people supporting a particular party for that party to have more congressional representation than its population. So you have in Texas where at best it's a 45-55 split for the voting population in the aggregate. And if you take a look at how Beto O'Rourke did, he lost by I think about 3 points or so, which makes the split something like, if you want to get technical about it, something like 58 point, about 40. What would that be? 48.5 versus 51.5, something like that. Give you the 3 points, right? So I mean, if you look at us having 38 seats, we should have Democrats themselves should have of that 38 at least 18 or so should belong to Democrats, but instead Democrats have 13, Republicans have 25. Okay? And that was done by gerrymandering. Let me tell you how they gerrymander. Define what gerrymander is. And you can actually draw this and see this if you were to do the numbers. If I make Democratic districts very, very, very Democratic, meaning I stuff a lot of Democrats in a particular district that I create, that leaves a lot more Republicans elsewhere, right? So what they do is they make sure that Democratic districts are packed tight with a whole bunch of Democrats. And then the Republican districts are biased by Republicans, but their advantage in those districts are less. So if we have a Democratic district that is 90-1 in voting, right? That means they can create a lot of 55-45 Republican districts and still feel confident that those districts would go Republican. Now you have more people voting Democratic, but you get more Republicans out of it based on how they split the thing. What Abbott knows is that Texas is not like this super red state, like let's say Alabama or Mississippi or North Dakota. He knows that. We have Houston, El Paso, Fort Worth, Dallas, what others? Austin. We have these big metropolitan areas that are very democratic and are very population dense. Then you go to West Texas where nobody lives. So you look at a map, the map looks very red because nobody lives there, right? And what they do in the way they draw these districts is they draw the districts sort of centralizing in the big cities. So they split up the big cities into a whole bunch of districts. But those districts, to get the Republicans right, those districts go out and fan out to the countryside. And that's how they start to get their dilution of the districts they need to get. And then in certain ones, they pack with Democrats. Well, they've done that already. They have done that already. And Abbott knows that. But Trump wants to get five more Republicans out of Texas because he's got likely to lose 4 in New York, a couple in New Mexico. In other places, he's going to lose. Again, he's going to lose Republicans. Let me tell you, when I heard he wanted 5 more seats, I don't know how he does it. Because whereas you may split a Republican district 55-45 now, you may have to split that Republican district 52-48. That's a 4-point buffer. Here's the problem. The way they figure out how that district or how that area votes, or how it has voted before. Because guess what Texas does not have? You don't register in Texas as a Republican or a Democrat. You don't. So the only metrics that Abbott has is how a particular area in Texas normally votes. And if they normally vote in a Republican manner, you can say, well, there are more Republicans registered here than Democrats. But it's not as exact as it could be in California. It's not as exact as it could be in New York, right? It's not as exact. So in the attempt to get more seats, Abbott knows one important thing, and that is he could actually lose seats, because all those marginal districts, the DCC has said, we are going to pump money into Texas. So if they are successful in doing that, he'll pump money in Texas, and those marginal Republican districts in a state where we will be losing rural hospitals, in a state where a lot of Texans are going to lose their Medicare through Obamacare coverage because the prices are going to skyrocket. We don't have the Medicaid expansion to the Affordable Care here, so that won't change anything in Texas. But this escalation in price that should begin in November is going to occur on the exchanges. What do you think those marginal districts are going? How do you think those marginal districts are going to vote? They are going to say, we want our tax credits, our tax subsidies back. We want our medical subsidies back. And even if I may be just an independent leaning Republican, for this next few elections, I'll be an independent leaning Democrat, because they're the ones who are going to give me the services that keep my family alive. I mean, and this is where you come in. But let me go to the phone. Donald is on. Good morning, Donald. How are you doing this morning, sir?
Good morning. Yeah, they're making sure that they want to change it so you can't transplant people over and try to get them elected. But, I was doing some research, and California don't have a leg to stand on, for the simple fact that Texas has had a woman governor. It would be, I believe, Ann Richards. So when is California going to get on board and get them a woman governor?
Hey, wait, something? I'm glad you brought that up, right? I point this out. The same sexism and all the isms that you have in the Republican Party, let me rest assured and tell you, you have in the Democratic Party. The only difference is one party is centralized on it and the other one isn't. I go to these conferences every year, the Netroots Conference, the most liberal group, the most liberal, where all liberals get together, progressives, etc. It's writers and politicians. So in fact, I'm going on August 6th, and we'll be interviewing quite a few politicians and activists, etc. But what you find there, brother Donald, is that the same kind of ills you have against women, except etc. You find there, with women taken advantage of, poor minority representation in leadership. All those things are true in the Democratic Party as well. But there's a difference. The difference is that the Democrats are sorry about it. They are, when I say sorry, I mean they apologize about it, and they try to do something about it under law. The opposite is true for Republicans. You don't get rid of a patriarchy in a generation or two. You don't get rid of all these ills. You don't get rid of all the isms. The question is, are you doing something to try to mitigate it? And that's the difference between the two parties. And you are absolutely right. We can say the same thing about America electing a woman president compared to India, compared to Pakistan, compared to Argentina, compared to Brazil. All these countries, compared to Australia, all these countries have elected women. We have yet to do it, and many of these countries are Muslim as well. Anything else, my brother?
Well, that's what I'm saying. We may be a bunch of dumb redneck backwoods people, but we have elected a female Democratic
Yeah.
or on the Democratic Party as governor. So we're not that bad. So these other places need to put their money where their mouth is and show us by example. Correct?
Hey, yes. I mean, what did I tell you guys yesterday?
Not as
Look, look. Let me tell you, Donald. I don't allow people to really give Texas and the South as bad a time as many in the North would. Okay, Texas has serious problems that New York doesn't have, but New York has serious problems that Texas doesn't have. I try to be fair in what I'm saying, but the fact of the matter is we have serious issues that we have no intent on solving here in Texas. But when it comes to all the isms are countrywide, countrywide, and we have to mitigate it everywhere. Anything else, my brother?
Oh, I was going to go into, Hunter Biden nailed it on the head the other day when he said, who's going to wash your dishes and this, that, and the other. Immigrants are not people's property. I've heard people say it before, my workers. No, they're your employees.
Yeah.
And you should be providing best. When your business models are set up for undocumented workers to get them at a cheaper rate, then you do not have a successful business.
Absolutely
Nobody
true.
owns anybody in this world. Everybody should work and be paid a honorable wage to do the work that they do, and you shouldn't bring more people in, because the more rats you bring in, the harder it is to keep them separated and fed and happy. They will eventually start attacking themselves, and that's what these big cities, in my opinion, do. Now, Houston, we're so spread out, we have the best city in the world. We still have our issues, but we respect each other's culture and each other's boundaries and each other's identity. Now, these other cities and stuff, I don't think they do that too well. So that's it.
I love me some Houston. I won't just tell you straight up. But let me tell you that the next time I see you, I'm gonna have to give you a punch, brother. You don't refer to my immigrant brothers as rats again, or we gonna fight. Okay.
I didn't say rats.
I know. I know what you're saying. I'm messing with you. I know what you're
I
saying.
know your other people will jump on me, but yeah, it's
Hey,
experiment.
look, hey, I got it. But I'm pushing back for my people who didn't get it, okay? I got to push back on you. Hey, but one other thing, brother. Don't leave yet. I want to say one other thing. Hold on. Hey, you got to let me talk, dude. Look, let me just say one other thing. I think I think if we start realizing that we are cultured by who we are, and that yes, the Republican Party has a lot of issues, right? But so does the Democratic Party. If we're honest about these issues, we can solve things item by item with policy by policy. And I think there's a couple of things that you said there that we have to be honest about. California talks a whole lot about liberalism, but yet a woman is yet to become a governor. The United States talk about being the land of the free and equal opportunity, yet many other countries have brought women. We have yet to do that. Thank you, brother. You have a wonderful rest of your day. All right.
Bye bye.
Bye bye, Donald. Now, Uju says only difference is one party stabs you in the back, the other stabs you with a smile. Most parties have been captured by corporations and lobbyists. I could not have said that any better. Uju M. We also have Paula Himmel's Fact says, sadly, Abbott wants to do the bidding of 47. He pushes his rhetoric and does not care about us. Exactamente correcto. You're absolutely right, Paula. Pedro Senorina Silva, how you doing, my brother? Mi amigo de donde? The Azores. Look, America has an addiction to cheap labor because of slavery, so we need rehab. Yes, we do. But there's one thing, right? And that is not discounting that at all. I do want to say that because America has been a rich country and a lot of immigrants coming here are coming to improve themselves. Cabo Verde, exactamente. To improve themselves. Let me just say one thing. We come over here as immigrants, and we are willing to pay the dues. In other words, we understand that in many jobs you start if you're not coming over here as an engineer or something like that, already educated in your country at that level, yeah, you do the jobs that are available, and a lot of the jobs are available are in the field. Look, when I got here, right, the little job that I could do because of legal restrictions, etc., was sweeping floors, washing dishes, cleaning pots and pans at a university, and I did it. When I did get sponsored by my grandfather who had emigrated here from Panama way earlier, I also took all kinds of other jobs. Again, I have no problems working. And that's how immigrants are. Immigrants work. Immigrants are an asset to this country. Immigrants really do work that others don't want to do because they have to, because it's the work that's available, more available than other work. So when America figures that out, they'll probably fix the immigration crisis. Let's go to Moses. Moses, how you doing, beautiful? Haven't heard from you in a long time. You're on, Moses. Moses. Okay, let's put Moses on hold and figure out why we can't hear her, and then we'll take it. We'll take that back again. So let me get to the other chat to welcome. Lee the Bearcat is in the house, and as usual, Glenn Ryan, who says we tried taking away alcohol, didn't we? Yes, and that gave us prohibition and a lot of problems. Gave us a much more powerful organized crime. You're so right. And the same thing happens with marijuana. Right now, marijuana is being sold across borders, etc. It creates crime. You're absolutely right. Birdie Buff, I love that name, Birdie Buff, says, yep, both parties are good cop. Dems bad cop. Republicans. My mouth was going faster than my lips. Otherwise, I wouldn't have said the word. Okay. Harry Denson says, Egberto, Annie Arsons in the second half hour of her show this morning talked about the 82-year-old man who arrested by ICE in June because he lost his wallet that had his green card in it. All he was trying to do was replace it. Trump's ICE thugs deported him to Guatemala. The man is originally from Chile. The man's wife was detained by ICE for over 10 hours. This man is a legalized citizen in the United States, MAGA and not non-MAGA people who voted for Trump. This is what your Trump vote got you. Yeah, look, like I said, there's a lot that's going to change, because, again, the Latino vote. And by the way, folks, the telephone number, 713-526-5738. Please don't wait till the end of the show to call. I have a video here, Beto O'Rourke, 7 minutes or so. I'm going to play that right now. with the redistricting issue, and then we'll get back to answer whatever calls are there. 713-526-5738. Beto O'Rourke went on to State of the Union on CNN, and I love what he had to say about redistricting and what Democrats need to do and how Democrats need to behave. I want you to listen to this, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Right now, Texas, the nation's second most populous state, has 13 House Democrats and 25 Republicans. President Trump and Governor Abbott want to make that even more lopsided. Joining me now, former Democratic Texas Congressman and 2020 presidential candidate Beto O'Rourke. Thanks so much for being here. Really appreciate it. So the Texas legislature, run by Republicans, their special session begins tomorrow. Democrats say they're going to use whatever means necessary they can to block this redistricting effort. But Democrats are in the minority, as you know. Realistically, what are the Democratic options to block this?
First, just in case folks don't know what redistricting is, that's the process by which members of Congress choose their own voters. Typically, that happens after the passage of the decade, the new census. It is very rare to happen in the middle of the decade. Why are they doing this? Donald Trump's policies, whether it's the big, beautiful bill that's going to take nearly 2 million Texans off of Medicaid or transfer nearly $1 trillion of wealth to the richest 1% at the expense of working families. His policies are deeply unpopular. He doesn't want to face accountability from the voters, and he's worried about keeping his very slim majority in Congress. So he's trying to pick up 5 seats through this redistricting process in Texas. Now, to your question about how we fight back, there are a number of things that we can do. One, the Democratic state legislators can deny their Republican colleagues a quorum to be able to move forward on this.
We've seen this before with legislators leaving the state and that sort of thing.
Absolutely. And I think they at least have to try this. And all of us, wherever you live, have to get behind them, because if we fail to support them right now, it's not just going to hurt the people of Texas. It's going to hurt people all over this country. But there's more that we can do. Governor Gavin Newsom in California has talked about a redistricting in his state. I think it's time that we match fire with fire. I think Democrats in the past too often have been more concerned with being right than being in power. And we've seen Republicans only care about being in power regardless of what is right.
So you support the Newsom effort because California right now has an independent commission that does districts in as fair a way as possible and nonpartisan as possible. You're saying Democrats should, even though you don't approve of it, Democrats should do it too.
We have to get serious. We have to be absolutely ruthless about getting back in power. So yes, in California, in Illinois, in New York, wherever we have the trifecta of power, we have to use that to its absolute extent. And then the last thing, this may end up biting Republicans in the ass. You have the possibility that they will disperse Republican voters to make up these 3 or 4 or 5 new congressional districts and put those districts in play. So in Texas, we've got to get out there and register and meet the voters who are going to decide the outcomes in these next elections if they're successful with this redistricting. Our group, Powered by People, is doing this right now on the ground. We can't wait for 2026. We got to do the work right now in 2025.
So House Democrats are exploring doing this in other blue states, New York, New Jersey, Minnesota, Washington. It's already done quite a bit in Illinois. And there's some examples of it, of Democrats taking advantage of it in Nevada. But you were in North Carolina this week and you told voters there that they need to end the process of gerrymandering. Doesn't it sound like you're saying that they should end the process in a Republican state or a Republican leaning state, but do it in a Democratic state? I mean, should there be like a consistent point of view here?
It's confusing, isn't it? You heard Democrats in 2024 often talk about saving democracy. People in America didn't understand what they were talking about because we really don't live in a democracy right now. When one person can spend nearly $300 million to elect their preferred candidate for president, that is not a democracy. When members of Congress can choose their own voters, that is not a democracy. When Texas makes it nearly impossible for millions to cast a ballot, that is not a democracy. So the first order of business is winning political power. And then, yes, Jake, we've got to get big money out of politics. We've got to get politicians out of the process of redistricting. We have to pass a John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act. And we've got to make sure that we overturn decisions like Citizens United that equate corporations with people and money with speech. That will produce a real democracy. But until we are there, we have to use every lever of power that we have right now to our advantage to make sure that we're in office. Because No one wants members of Congress choosing their own voters, but we have no ability to change that until we start winning some elections.
You say it sounds confusing, but others might say it's hypocritical, that you're saying this is a horrible thing, and it's members of Congress choosing their voters instead of the other way around, and now Democrats need to embrace it.
You know, I think that Democrats have been so scared of being branded as hypocrites or coloring outside of the lines that it has absolutely paralyzed them in this struggle for power in America. You don't see the other side worrying about any of that at all. Donald Trump defying the Constitution, the rule of law, the courts, trying to dismantle our very democracy in front of our eyes right now where we sit. We have got to fight back. We cannot roll over. We cannot play dead. We cannot submit to them as Democrats for far too long have done. We've got to fight back with everything that we've got by every single means necessary. If we don't do that, Jake, we are going to lose this country, and the people that we serve, that we represent, that we want to fight for, they're going to be hurt even more than they are right now.
And Beto O'Rourke nails it, right? You have to fight fire with fire. And of course, you're going to have Jake said, but isn't it hypocritical that you go to North Carolina and try to tell them, do you have to stop gerrymandering? No, it's not. We want gerrymandering stopped, but if we can't stop it, we have to mitigate what has occurred. It is so. What is really hypocritical, Mr. Tapper, is that you wrote a book on the feebleness of Joe Biden and completely disregarding that Donald Trump is a crazy madman. That have you listened to any press conference? Listen to it today. The man is mentally ill, and I don't hear Jake Tapper writing a book about that. Donald Trump is mentally ill. Listen to the way he talks. Listen to him not being able to stay on subject. Listen to him being all over the place. That's sick. The man is mentally ill. And we don't see Jake Tapper saying anything about that. You don't see that. No, you don't see that. Before I go to Coach AJ, let me just point this out, okay? Lee Bearcat says, the decline in rural hospitals in Texas is not a recent phenomenon. It has been a concern for policymakers since 1980s when new regulations began to put these hospitals in a precarious financial state. That is coming directly out of talking points for Republicans. Let me ask you to do your own critical thinking, Lee Bearcat. What specific policy coming from the federal government actually caused a hospital to close? Please tell me what that is. You know what causes hospitals to close? The inability to get money for the people who go to that hospital. The only regulations that are applied to hospitals is that of consequence, emergency room must see any emergency that's come in. I call that humane. So you cannot find a regulation. The only thing that brings these hospitals down is what Republicans are doing with not funding policies that ensure the rural people that support Republicans have a hospital. Okay? So again, do some critical thinking, my dear brother, and don't just take what they tell you. Ask the question. What specific regulation are you saying closes rural hospitals? You'll find an interesting answer. Coach AJ, come on in.
Hey, I always listen to your show, but I'm always coming back from the gym before I go to work. This is the first time I had a chance to get on your show. I think your show was excellent. So I would say first, our leaders are not leaders. And let me tell you why. You got Congress and you got the president. They cutting everything back, senior citizens, education, everything that would be productive for a thriving American society. But they didn't take a pay cut. I hadn't heard anybody say, hey, you know what? I'm going to take 10% of my salary and I'm going to put that in my community with my constituents. That's what leadership looks like. We do not have that. The other thing is, look who are we electing. There was a time, man, when you cheated on your wife or you beat your wife or anything like that, it wouldn't even be considered. Look what's going on. Look what's going on. Paxton is running for Senate, and his homeboys gathering around him, and everybody think that's fine. Trump, with all his stuff that he did, moral stuff, people turn their head. The evangelicals endorsed him, and they expect nobody to say anything. Now, let me go back, because I know people are going to say this. What Clinton did also was not right. Wasn't right. So your listeners calling, hey, man, what about Clinton? I try to really be very balanced in what I talk about, right? If it's immoral and all those things that come with it, then we got to call it as we see it. I umpire, I referee. I can't look at one team, look at the other, and have kids look in my face and me not do a really good job. So you got to call it out on both sides. But now it's out of control, right? It's a situation where people, this administration and this Congress don't care about people. I don't care if they're white people who are suffering. I'm concerned more about our seniors, right? Black and white, and other ethnic groups. They can't make any more money, right? They'll have to go back to work. Some of them are just not able to go back to work, but some are going to have to go back to work to eat. And then our young people, when you take education away from young people, you know what happens? Or they don't get education. We have more. Yes, we have more people stealing and robbing, right? Because here's the statistics. The statistics say that if you don't finish high school, at least high school, right, you're in a bad situation. And we know you need more than high school, especially in this economy in America, to get to a point where you can buy a house. The immigrants are not the problem. It's really not the problem. It's the morality of America, especially right now, that's the problem. We should be giving everybody a good wage that wants to work. Doesn't matter what color you are. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I'm African American, and I saw what my parents went through. They moved from South Carolina because of treatment like this. You know, being disrespected, being hunted down, right? This reminds me of some of the stories my grandmother and my aunties told me how they lived in South Carolina and they had to get up out of it.
Coach, I get your sentiment, and you're absolutely right in absolutely everything that you said. My lines are completely filled up. Thank you for that very important comment. I wanted to let you go because you were making so much sense. I wanted that coming from our audience. Thank you so kindly for your call, sir. You're absolutely right. Let's go to Moses. Come on in, Moses.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, my sister. Talk to me. I'm kind of running out of time, though. I'm not a good manager of time today. Go ahead.
I'm going to be fast. I'm going to be as quick. Number one, let us summarize all of this mess that's going on in our times. This is the dispensation of the 666. Look at the moral character of the leader and all his cabal. All right. Number two, what a tangled web we weave when we tried hard to deceive and abuse people who now cannot be deceived. Neither white nor blacks cannot be deceived. So redistricting is going to fly right back in the face of
yes, I agree. I agree.
Because everybody is suffering right now. And finally, let me say, for the people, I always say, with the Bible in your hand, even more clear, when you look for the mark of the 666, it says, he will not regard the desires of women. Put this in your pipe and smoke it. And ask yourself, whom do you serve?
Moses, thank you so kindly for your call, Moses. Let's go to Derek, line 6.
Hey, good morning, Alberto.
Good morning, my brother.
I'd like to say, man, when you talk about morality in this country, you better put it in parentheses. Because I don't remember a time where the United States started off being moral. They only had their own form of morality, but for the most part, man, enslaving people and stuff, that is not moral. It has never have been. And maiming and killing never been moral. But this is the question I had for you this morning, brother, is that ICE recently went in and arrested people in the South Fair School District. Okay, these are custodians. And I want to know, do they have the authority just to go into these school districts and building public places without talking to somebody heads up and that's over it first before they go in there? I'd like to know what that answer would be.
Technically speaking, the federal law enforcement has just about unlimited rights. It's a supremacy law. So I mean, the short answer is yes. There are some exceptions that I don't quite know about, that I can't quite explain. But the supremacy clause give the federal agents just about anything. That's why during the civil rights issues in the 60s, they brought in the federal government, because they superseded what any local National Guard or local police could do. But Derek, I'm out of time, so I gotta thank you for the question and go on. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, brother. Let's go to Johnny. Johnny, please keep her to 30 seconds for me. Come on in, Johnny. Line number 1.
If anybody can, I can. I see a big downside to when David Packman, Cenk Uygur, you, and others on our side start calling Donald Trump mentally ill. The big downside is you're giving him and his lawyers that excuse if and when he gets out of office and we attempt to prosecute. He will use that in court as prison time.
I can't argue that point. You nailed it, Johnny. And maybe we shouldn't quite do that. Thank you, brother. Let's go to Bobby, line 5. Bobby, let's go. There you go. Bobby, come on in. Real quick, 30 seconds.
Hey, good morning. I'll make this quick. Okay. So since we're on morality, and I'm Democrat, and I just kind of want to say this as we put it in people's minds, maybe we should rethink. As far as, the differences on abortion, like the main things that women say, are, it's my body and it's my choice. In my opinion, personally, morally, I think it's wrong to kill unborn children. She says it's her body, but that would mean that, if she has a male baby, that right now she has a vagina and a penis. That means that when the baby's having a dream kicking, that's her second brain having a dream and making her kick with her second set of feet inside of her own belly and move around. That's not her body to a certain point. We're not our parents, we're ourselves, right? And as far as the making a choice thing, it's like she made her choice when she got in bed and had unprotected sex with somebody. Now, in cases of rape and where the baby's not going to be healthy or whatever, I know it's convenient. Like if you're a 50-something-year-old man and you get the 20-year-old girl across the street pregnant, it's pretty convenient but that doesn't make it right. You know what I mean? And women don't have two brains. They don't have a penis inside of them. You know what I mean? They're women or men.
I don't have the time, right? But let me just say this one thing, because I hear what you're saying. I want to ask you the question. Is if you allow abortion for incest and rape, right then and there, you're acknowledging that is okay. Let's have this discussion at another. No, Bobby, let's have it another time. I don't have the time. Let's talk about it tomorrow. Let's go to Jimmy. Okay, let's go to Jimmy. Come on, Jimmy, real quick. 30 seconds.
President Trump is supporting criminal behavior. He pardoned all those people who were convicted of attacking the Capitol. He pardoned a showbiz couple the other day after their daughter lobbied him to do that. They had been stealing from their clients. And now that in Brazil, Bolsonaro has tried to overturn a legitimate election. They said he cannot run again until 2030.
Yeah.
And Trump is putting a higher tariff on them for that. So he's supporting criminal activity here and around the world.
Exactly. Thank you, Jimmy. I got to go to the other one, but thank you, my brother. Let's go to Donald Commit at the show. I don't quite understand. Donald, real quick, 30 seconds.
Okay, you were Robert Francis's clip a minute ago talk about money spending. Didn't Kamala or Miss Harris spend $1.5 billion on her campaign and still lost?
She wasted $1.2 billion because she didn't go to the places and put the money. Instead of giving the money to consultants, if they went into community, it would have been a landslide. Talk to you another time, Donald. Thank you for bringing that up. Brian, line number 3, 30 seconds.
Yeah, I need to go back to what you said on Monday when I tried to see how fair it was when 10 to 12 million illegal aliens came across the border, and it took my wife 6 years to make the first step in to get a card. And you called me a racist because I didn't know how many people came across the Canadian border. Now, why did you call me a racist for not knowing how many people crossed the Canadian border? That's my question for today.
Okay, your question for today is not only about, I mean, it doesn't only cover how many people came over the border. It's just that you have a centralization of people that are not white when you talk about all the issues that you talk about. So this isn't just about you not knowing the number.
I'm a racist for not knowing this.
This is about the context of your conversations, because you call every day, and I think everybody would.
Married out of my race.
There are a lot of people who are married to people of other races that are racist themselves. There are a lot of people that have babies. I mean, I have friends, black woman, white husband, black son, pretty much tries to, well, I'll go for another time. Let me pass it on to the studio. Come on in, Mayana and Jack.
Hey.
Hey.
I got a comment, but it's a little too long, so let's just send it home, Berto.
Okay, no problem, guys. I'm sorry for kind of just throwing it over to you guys like that sometimes. My bad. All right. Okay. Look, guys, love the comments. I can't get to all of them, but you guys are lively on Substack and you're lively on the other chat as well. Let me just tell you again, Lee the Beer Cat, stop buying the Kool-Aid. You're on both of my shows and you're a smart guy. Joe from California, Los Angeles, thank you for being here. Anyway, got to get out of here. Thank you. The rest of the show is at politicsandright.com/newsletter. You can reach me directly at kpft@politicsandright.com, kpft@politicsandright.com. Love you all, and I mean that, all of you. My name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics and Right, and you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out.